Hello and good evening from everyone here at Clevernet TV in Diaspora. Clevernet TV is an internet television service committed to bringing Africans back home and in diaspora together to celebrate their achievements. I am Lola Oladokun. We're encouraging you to sign up on www.clevernet.com to join our growing family. Today on the show, I have a very interesting guest. Her name is Ambassador Dr. Yeye Lara Fashola. Before we begin, I'd like to read a little bit about her biography. She is a high promoter and custodian of the Yoruba culture and tradition. She was born into the popular Fashola family of Isalegongo, Lagos Island. She is a woman of many qualities and honor, a wife, mother, priestess, intellectual, entrepreneur, politician, role model, feminist, activist, egalitarian, a trailblazer, and serial philanthropist. Welcome to the show, Ma.
Thank you. Good evening. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
It's such a pleasure for you to join us today on Clevernet TV in Diaspora.
It is an honor to be on your show today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. You have such an impressive biography. Who was Yeye before she got the call?
Hmm. Okay. Who was I before the call? I am so used to the life that I'm living now that I can't really remember what it was like before now. But I'll tell you. Before now, I was a maritime lawyer who was into oil and gas, shipping and maritime services. I schooled in Nigeria and in America, and I had a master's in maritime law. Before now, I have always been interested in the tradition and the culture of the Yoruba people. For some reason, I would rather go and watch the masquerade when I was young, the masquerade performance. I would rather go and do that than, maybe go to the cinema to watch a movie or something. I just loved culture. I've always loved culture. But again, I was born into a Muslim family. The Fashola family has something that we call religious tolerance. My mom was a Christian before she married my dad. And after she got married to my dad, I think they agreed that it was best that they practice one religion so that everybody in the family can also practice it. So my mom became a Muslim. So I was a Muslim. I was a staunch Muslim. I went to Quranic school. I graduated, you know, and so this was my life as a young lady. Then growing up, I realized that, I used to see so many things in my dreams that I couldn't really interpret and that my parents really couldn't interpret, as well. And this was what formed my going to the church, because my parents spoke to some people and they said, oh, I mean, if she sees things and they come to pass, it may be that she would try, better in a Christian background. So I started going to the church, and I was a prophetess in church, and I worked in church for so many years. But again, the flair for the culture and the call, there was a call that was greater than even, the family that was calling me. And here we are today. And it is also important for me to state here in this interview that I am a descendant of the Oni Ademelui, the Ajagun. It was the 48th Oni in Ileife. My mom is also a princess from the Benin Kingdom. And you see, coming from such a background, with my dad's father also coming from Lagos Island in Lagos, Eko, Isaleko, I think that actually make me who I am. Because again, I think tradition and culture is in my DNA. So this was the life that I led before, I became a priestess of the Orishas.
Amazing. You're such a beautiful royal person.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
you. So how has it been like after the call?
Oh, yes. After the call, even before the call, I would tell you that I come from an highly disciplined family. I'm sure that a lot of people know the Fashola family. We're quite popular in Lagos and in Nigeria because I have an uncle who served as a governor for 8 years in Lagos State, and also is a serving minister in Nigeria today. And everybody saw how disciplined and proactive he was, and that he still is. So this is the family that I come from. We come from a family that has high value for culture, for respect, and for success. So this is the kind of family that I come from. So, and I think that is what has informed the kind of person that I am. So now, being an high priestess wasn't so difficult because to be a priestess first, before you grow in the hierarchy, um, you have to exhibit a high level of discipline. Okay, but what changed significantly is that to be a priestess, of course, you have to go through some kind of training, a rite of passage. And during that period, some things will be revealed. And it was one of the things that I had to start to do, change my mode of dressing. I have to wear the color white for the rest of my life, and I see it as um, a form of purity. White is purity. White stands for purity. And again, everyone knows that cleanliness is next to godliness. There's no way you're wearing a white sparkling dress and your underwear is white, sparkling. Everything that you have is white and sparkling. It just speaks about who you really are, even inside and outside. So again, now my life tends to tilt towards serving. Before now, I could just get up and go and do anything that I like. But now I can't do that anymore. Every step that I take, I have to think twice, before taking any kind of step for that matter. Before taking any kind of decision, I have to seek guidance, both physically, morally, and spiritually, before I take, major steps or major decisions in my life. So this is who I am today. I am here to serve, and I hope that I will be able to serve for as long as I live.
Yeah, service
Thank
and
you.
discipline are such core values that seems to be missing in our society of today. So it's inspiring to see you uphold such core values. Let's welcome my co-host Franca Idemudia to the show. Welcome, Franca.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much, Lala. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening. And the viewers, good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here. And thank you so much, madam, for honoring the invite to be our guest today.
It's my honor to be here.
And moving on, like going from Orthodox to an Orthodox religion, I'm sure it's not an easy feat. So how was the transition process like?
Yes, like I said before, coming from the kind of background and the kind of pedigree that I have, um, the discipline aspect was easy because I have always lived, a life of discipline. Then again, having to learn the traditional things because I am not just a promoter of the culture, I am a practitioner of the tradition of our people. So I actually do take part in the practice. So these things, they're not things that you learn in one day. And again, I would say that, when you're called to serve, a call to serve is not, it's divine. Okay, so if you have a divine call, somehow, some way, you will have a guidance. You will have a divine guidance, and so that is what has informed the way that I live and the things that I do. Every step that I take is divine. So I am taught divinely. So I did not have to go to any kind of school or any kind of mentorship or anything. And again, I told you earlier that I have always loved culture. And coming from the kind of background that I come from, it doesn't take me anything to just get up and go to Ileife, for instance. And that's the cradle of the Yoruba race. That is where we started from. So, and every day in Ileife is a festival. Every day in Ileife is a celebration of the culture of our people. So, I have had to learn through all of this medium, going to Ileife, going to the Great Benin Kingdom, moving around and learning every day of my life. I am still learning. It's a process, and I'll continue to learn for as long as I live because, the tradition is oral. The Yoruba tradition, especially, it's not like we have a book. We don't have a book where you can go to, like a manual, where you can go to and learn to do things. So the tradition that we have is oral tradition. And so sometimes I sit down with the elders and I ask questions. I sit down with monarchs and I ask questions. They tell me stories. My parents are still alive. My mom and my dad, they're very vast too in the history of our people, even though they're Muslims, but they tell me. So even people that are much older than they are, we still have so many good elders around who are willing to share. So this is how I have been living.
Interesting. Franklin, what are your questions?
It's all right. Thank you so much, Madam, once again for gracing our station. All right, and I
My
want to
pleasure.
believe, yeah, I want to believe that with the advent of the internet and so many other stuff that have made the world a much more better place for us to live in today, we have so many challenges in having to promote African culture. Can you share with us your experiences, the disadvantages you've gotten so far?
As a matter of fact, I would not say that I have a disadvantage because if you say that you are at a disadvantage, it means that you're even undermining the work that you have been sent to do. Like I said, the work that I do is divine. I didn't just decide that, oh, I want to be promoted. I mean, I could promote so many other things, but like I said, it is divine. And when you have a divine responsibility, some forces will work for you as to work against you. Again, if you look at me, I am well read, I am well positioned, I have the right connections. So I am not coming at a disadvantage at all. When I talk, people want to listen to me, people even want to learn from me. A lot of people are interested to even speak to me because they are shocked that somebody who is, a young woman who is doing so much to promote the culture, because the culture and the tradition of our people is almost going into extinction if you look at it. And a lot of people don't seem to be interested in it anymore. So for someone like me to get up and say, this is what we're going to do, we will promote it, we will let you see the beauty. So my responsibility basically is showing the beauty. You need to show people that something is beauty. You see, it's beautiful. Pardon me. The religion, the way of life of our people, especially the Yoruba people, uh, the way of life is so beautiful, and it's a product. So for me, that tradition and culture is like a product. And for you to be able to sell a product, it has to be beautiful. You have to make it look nice and everything so that people it is marketable. So this is what I do. I try to show the beautiful side of the culture so that people can buy into it.
That's amazing. So
Now,
can
I
you?
want to believe that.
Yeah, yeah.
mm,
You can go. You
No,
can
no, please, okay. Yeah, I like to believe that among the young generation, among the youngsters, there is this great misconception about African tradition. How do you cope with having to teach the younger generation the culture of Africa?
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. And I'm happy you used the word misconception. It's actually a misconception because if you look at it from every angle, whether spiritual or even logically, um, is it right to say that the way of your ancestors is bad? You know, because without our ancestors, we won't be here today. Okay? I think that that is our foundation. The tradition, the culture is what tells the story about who you are. For instance, when I came, you said, oh, Lara Fashola. Everybody knows that Fashola, Fashola is not an English name. Automatically, that just starts to tell a story about who I am, even without me saying a word. Someone can easily pick up and say, oh, Fashola, she must be Yoruba. And then our ancestors must be Ifa devotees. Do you understand? So what is culture really? Culture is the total way of life of a people. The way you talk, the language you speak, the dresses that we wear, the food that we eat, you know, and these things um, it gets passed on from generation to generation. So I am sitting down here today. I still eat the food that my ancestors ate when they were here. My kids eat the food that our ancestors ate while they were here. So we still speak the language. So there's no way you can live a life and eradicate your culture and your tradition. Then it means you're not anybody, right? Because there's no way you would not, exhibit a character that has to do with people of your race. Whether it's the language that you speak. See, we're speaking in English now, but if I was talking to somebody in my house, I can speak in English, but at the same time, you will just hear me switch to the Yoruba language. It happens in a lot of people's homes, a lot of people that I have been in contact with that are Yorubas, even the ones that I've never been to Nigeria. There are so many parents who speak Yoruba with their children. My kids don't live here, but they live in America, but they understand perfectly when I speak Yoruba language to them. Culture just has an automatic way of transferring to the next generation. So why should we throw that away? Again, like I said, there's a misconception, which means that there are things that are not seen the way that should be seen. So this is my responsibility to make people see the beauty in our culture. We have a beautiful culture across Africa and even in the diaspora. The African culture is too beautiful to be thrown away, in my opinion.
Yes, Africa
In my
is indeed
opinion.
beautiful. We're gonna go on a quick break, but when we come back, we're gonna learn more about the African deity as well as what you're doing to actually promote the African culture. Don't go
Oh,
anywhere, we'll be right back.
thank you.
Clevenard in Diaspora Television is an internet online TV service. What sets us apart is a unique combination of hit African content, first and exclusive international free movies, series, musics, news, events, documentaries, tourism, teleshopping shows, youth TV programs, and live interviews. Clevenard Diaspora Television is available throughout sub-Saharan Africa and to the diaspora markets worldwide. Take your entertainment with you wherever you go. Watch on your smartphone, tablet, laptop, smart TV, depending on your device. Watch free movies with Clevenard Movies Television. Stop searching for free movies websites and watch Clevenard Movies Television. Watch your favorite African shows anywhere at any time. Don't forget to check out our top 5 TV channels created to get you informed. TV1, Clevenard in Diaspora Television. TV2, Clevenard Youth Television. TV3, Clevenard Movies Television. TV4, Clevenard Teleshopping Television. TV5, Clevenard Tourism Television. To start watching, sign up at www.clevenard.com and follow the easy steps. Once you're done, log into the Clevenard website or app on your device, click on any one of our 5 TV channels, and hit play. We will be very satisfied and happy to welcome you to our team as one of our new business partners. Contact info@clevenard.com +34 631 279811. Website www.clevenard.com.
Welcome back to Clevenard TV in Diaspora. Please remember to sign up on www.clevenard.com. We are still in conversation with Dr. Yeye Lara Fashola, and she's been telling us about how important our culture is. So now we're continuing the conversation by asking her, Ma, what have what have you done to actually promote the African culture?
Okay. To start with, I am an ambassador at the African Union ECOSOC. That is the Economic, Social, and Cultural Council. And this union has given us a platform because what the job of an ambassador at the African Union is to promote the African culture. So they give us that platform to be able to talk about the culture. Everywhere we go, we represent, the culture, and we're able to talk about it. Again, I have a festival that we celebrate every year. Uh, Precisely in August every year. It's called the Olokun Festival. And this festival is a festival that gives also a platform for people, for Africans in Africa and in the diaspora to be able to come together under one roof to see the beauty of our culture. Because what we do at the festival is we bring displays from, cultural displays from all over. So people are able to see the beauty, and it's usually a very colorful uh, event. Very colorful. We bring ambassadors of different countries. We bring, stakeholders in the cultural and tourism sector. Because if you look at it, culture is tourism, and tourism is culture. So all stakeholders in the tourism sector and in the cultural sector come together under one roof, under one umbrella to network and discuss on ways that, we can further promote the culture. And we usually have all the monarchs, your monarchs in Yoruba land, outside Yoruba land, everywhere. People come, together. And it's a day that, we always look forward to, because it just shows the beauty in our culture.
Culture is tourism and tourism is culture.
Same as
Yes,
culture.
I'll
Yes.
always remember that. So in about 10 minutes or so, can you tell us something about the Olokun deity?
Olukun is a deity that simply means a deity of wealth. Olo is a Yoruba word that means owner, and Okun means the sea, the Atlantic Ocean, or the sea. And so Olo, the owner of the sea. The Olokun deity is a very popular deity in Yoruba land and even in the Edo Kingdom, the Benin Kingdom, and even outside the shores of Nigeria. Olokun deity is very popular because I have met with people all over, and the deity is quite popular. Again, why is Olokun popular? Uh, that deity is popular because everybody is looking for wealth. Why do we work? What do we live for, really? You wake up in the morning, you go to work, somebody wakes up and goes to their business place. What are we really looking for? Everybody is looking for wealth and economic growth. And so this is what the Orisha does. Uh, this Orisha is an androgynous Orisha that is both male and female. So you can refer to the deity as a he or a she. So in this interview, I will use the word she. So she is the deity that Olodumare put in charge of wealth and economic growth. Now look at it. Even not if we don't speak even traditionally, let us speak logically. Um, if you look at it, most of the well the world economy is controlled by the sea. Um, Goods leave one country to the other on water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Goods worth billions of dollars. And when a vessel, for instance, leaves point A to go to point B, and it goes, sails successfully without the vessel capsizing. You know, if a vessel capsizes, do you know the amount of goods and the worth of goods that will be lost? So again, we think that the Atlantic Ocean is a very powerful force. That is one. Two, if you look at it, there is nothing that is found in the Atlantic Ocean that is not valuable. The most expensive food that you can find on earth is seafood, and it's gotten from the sea. The corals that we wear, corals, the freshwater corals, are gotten from the water, very valuable and expensive. Freshwater pearls gotten from the water. Everything that you find in the ocean is valuable, and this contributes to revenue of countries, of nations. The fishermen go out to fish, they come back free, no capital needed. You don't need money to start that business. All you need to do, maybe, you can just rent a boat and you go with your fishing nets to the ocean and you come back with fish, with prawns, whatever, seafood. And by the time you sell it, it amounts to money. So basically, Olokun is the deity that is in charge of wealth and economic growth.
Interesting. So how's the deity worshipped?
How is the deity worshipped? Um, that again, um, the deity is worshipped like any other deity. We feed our orishas. That's what we do because we believe that we bring offerings. You know, just like the Bible said, bring your burnt offerings to me. So we give offerings to the orishas, and we know that they accept it, and our prayers get answered when we do so, when we put petitions forward. And again, your co-presenter was asking about the misconception, I'd like to state in this interview that when we feed the orishas, people would say, oh, you know, they're worshiping the deities. We actually do send the deities to Olodumare, which is the supreme being. So we believe that there is a supreme being, Olodumare, and we have messengers that Olodumare put in charge of affairs, of earthly affairs. You know, so this is why we go to the orishas. Olokun is not the only deity. We have 401 deities in Yoruba land, and each of them, 401, each of them are in charge of a responsibility. They have a duty. So, for instance, you're looking for fruit of the womb. Oshun is the deity of fertility. You know, Oshun is the deity of fertility. We have Ogun, maybe for breakthrough. You know, we have so many of the orishas that have different responsibilities. Like Obaloaye is the one who is in charge of epidemics. You know, like the COVID-19, like you know, deadly diseases and the red cholera and measles and all of that. And you know, these things actually work. You will be amazed that if you're ignorant about something, you know, but when you actually put things to test and it works. For me, it wasn't like I didn't enter the culture with my eyes closed. My eyes were wide open. I actually did challenge, you know, some of these things, and I found them to be true. I found them to really work, you know. So, and I would say that I personally, I want to live the way my ancestors lived. You know, it's a choice. You know, it's a choice. And I see the culture beautiful. Everything around me is beautiful. And I don't see any reason why I shouldn't practice the culture. It is who I am, it is who we are, and we cannot run from who we are, really.
Cannot run from who you are. Frank?
All right, I have a question too. Can I go
Yes,
ahead?
please.
Yeah, I have a question to ask. When you were talking about your local deity, you made mention of the Yorubas and the Edo, okay, being one of the first people or one of the people that worshipped the deity in the time past. And I will like say you are very right in that. But after a while, we discovered that we had the advent of Christianity, and then those things were somehow swept away. We discovered that even with the non-existence of the many people still prospers. Okay, like you said, that the Olokun is the deity of wealth, but we still have many people prosper and having wealth even without worshiping the deity. Now, my question is this: do we have, or does the Olokun have a specific people that it attracts to itself?
Okay, thank you for making that statement that a lot of people do prosper without going to a local. Yes. Uh, do you know how many religions there are in the world, really? So if you say that people do prosper without going to a particular deity, it is because everybody has their own religion. The Hindus, the Indians, for instance, are not Christians, and they prosper. They do well. You know,
Mm.
the Buddhists, the Chinese. How many churches or mosques can you find in China? When you talk about technology today, nobody can compete with the Chinese. They prosper. We have Judaism, Zoroastrianism. There's so many religions. Most the Islam. People prosper, but what I'm trying to say is that those religions are peculiar to a group of people. You know, I am not a Buddhist because I am not a Chinese. That is their religion. That is their way of life. I do not practice Hinduism because I'm not Indian. But that is not to say that you cannot find a Black person practicing that religion because the world is a global village. Now people are beginning to, you know, people are actually now getting involved in other people's culture. I know that somewhere in a part of Lagos, the Indians have a temple where they worship. And I have passed by it before. And I saw our people also worshiping with the Indians. So religion really is a matter of choice. You can practice whatever religion that you want to. But what I am saying is, I have come here today to talk about culture. Okay, so and I am telling you who I am. I am telling you who our people are. I am not Chinese. So I am saying our people, when they do this, this is what happens. So the Indians will tell you, we are Hindus and we are prospering. They're not Christians and they're not, so there are so many religions. And mind you, do you know there are atheists? People who do not believe that there is God. Do you think they're
Exactly.
not
And they still
prospering?
prosper. They do.
They still prosper. So we are talking about culture and promoting that culture that is peculiar to you as a race or as an ethnic group or as a tribe. That's what we're talking about. Thank you. I hope that
Thank you
answers
for
your question.
It does.
Okay. So
And over to you, Lola.
the conversation. Will continue. We're going to quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
In the 21st century's technological advancement, we all seek opportunities to move and network with the emerging space. Introducing Clevenard blog and event posting. Do you think you have some interesting materials, good content, articles, and stories? Then feel free to publish them on Clevenard blog and events page, just as team of our writers are doing presently. By blogging on Clevenard's blogs and events, you benefit from our reach and network. There are constant stream of people visiting our social platform, and we have figured out just how to distribute our contents. This means you can basically skip the line and get access to a big audience from day one. Furthermore, we can help you get in touch with important people for projects with possibilities of translating your content into other languages and republishing them on Clevenard. This helps preserve and protect your content from getting lost. What's more, you also get to be part of our team with access to our network and lots of exclusives, behind the scenes information. And of course, you get full credit for everything you do, which brings you popularity and make extra income. Sign up now on clevenard.com and start blogging to your advantage. Please see the tutorial video on how to blog or post events on Clevenard Blogs and Events. For more information, contact info@clevenard.com +34 631 279811. Website www.clevenard.com. Clevenard, your blogs, your identity.
Welcome back to Clevenard TV in Diaspora. We're going to continue right through the conversation. We're still talking to Ambassador Dr. Yeye Lara Fashola, and we've had such an insightful conversation so far. So moving right along, ma'am, the majority of the youths are embracing Western culture, often at the expense of our African culture, which is rich and beautiful. So what advice would you give to the youth?
Yes, we have the youths that embrace the Western culture, but I'll tell you, in my experience, there's a great awakening because I work with the youths daily. I have a foundation that works with the youths that gives supports to families. We promote the culture as well as give support to families. So, and I also do counsel during my free time. So I know that a lot of people, not just the youth, a lot of people are beginning to come back to the culture, to the tradition. And this is not saying that you cannot practice any religion of your choice. What we are saying is do not let your culture and the tradition of your people go into extinction, because if you sell away what you have, you will become empty. If I sell my culture, my tradition, if I push it away, I cannot claim to be an Indian because I am not one. I cannot be a European because I am not one. You can't lay claim over any other ethnicity that is not yours. So, and when you start to act like a white woman, you start to talk like one, you start to eat the food, it still doesn't change who you are. So the best thing to do is to promote your culture, especially because the culture is so rich and beautiful. It is so rich and beautiful, and this is why we're appealing to the government of Nigeria to take cultural tourism seriously. And again, if they do, it will add a great deal to the revenue of Nigeria or any country for that matter. And I'll tell you why. When people leave a country and they go to Hajj, when they go to the holy pilgrimage to Mecca, what do you think they're going for? The Prophet Muhammad, that they believe is the messenger of Allah, is he still there? Does he still live there? He died thousands of years ago. But when they go there, they're going there for tourism. Regardless of the fact that they think, oh, when we go there, we will pray. What do? They show you the tomb where he was buried. They show you the paths that he walked. That is tourism. This is why I told you. Culture is another word for tourism. When you leave a place to visit another place, what you're simply doing is tourism, because you're going there to see, to appreciate the tourist sites, to see what they have. And we have so many of such sites in Nigeria, so many, but they're not developed. We can make a great deal of revenue from cultural tourism in Nigeria, for instance, if the government decides to look in that direction, because there are so many places of interest to visit. If you go to Jerusalem, when Christians go to the holy pilgrimage as well, Jesus Christ doesn't live there anymore. He died thousands of years ago. However, people want to visit the cross of Calvary where he was crucified. They want to go to his tomb. They want to go to Bethlehem and see where he was born. We have such places here all over Africa. The deities that we're talking about today, they were human beings before they became deities. Where they were born still exists. Oduduwa, the progenitor of the Yoruba race, when it descended into Ile-Ife, the spot is still there till today. The first Orisha that first came to the earth that Olodumare sent here, Obatala, is where he lived. Is still there till tomorrow. The Olokun deity that we're talking about, she was married to Oduduwa, the first king of Yoruba land. She was married to him. She came from a family. Our family house is still there today in Ile-Ife. Why are we not looking inwards to build those, historical sites where, people will come and see and learn about their ancestors? And at the same time, it is an exercise that will increase the GDP of Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, what message will you then say to the government?
I am saying to the government that tourism is the next oil, is the next crude oil. They need to look in that regard. They need to look inwards. They need to do something about our historical sites. They need to develop those places so that, people will come. And then again, we need to also do something about the security issue that we have so that more people will want to come when they know that where they're going to is not just in Yoruba land. We have them in the north, we have them in the east, everywhere in Africa. The same thing goes for all the African countries, the Africa continent. The government of each of those countries need to do this work. They need to develop our historical sites. And again, those sites will not be there forever. So the time is now so that those sites do not go into extinction. And by the time we grow older and our kids begin to ask us questions so that we can still take them to those places and say, this was where this happened. But if we don't do anything about them now, those places will go into extinction and we will have no stories to tell. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ma. I would like to come in there, please. And, when you talk about the government coming in to develop these sites, at times it looks quite, it's not just like that. You've said it, okay, at that height it ought to be. But at times we don't really get the practicability of these issues, even when you say government should do this and the government should do that. Now, what are those things? Let's be physical now. How do you expect, or how should the government go about developing these sites? And are there any ministry that should be responsible for this?
Oh, thank you. Yes, we have the Ministry of Tourism in Nigeria, and I'm very sure in every other country as well. We have it in the federal level and at the state level, even at the grassroots level. So when I say the government, I am talking about all the different arms of government. I am not talking about the president. I am not talking to the vice president of the country. I am talking, when I say government, we have different arms, and I'm talking to the ministry whose responsibility is to promote the tourism of each of those countries, especially the African countries. And we have the local government areas where these sites are located, so they can start from the grassroots. Like I said, those people, the people that are our ancestors now, they had families. Their families still live. They haven't gone into extinction. They didn't just disappear, So we have those people. They can start from the grassroots, start from the local government area offices, then extend it to the state government. For instance, the Lagos state government held a festival recently called the Eco Fest It was beautifully put together. You know, they did not just bring people from Yoruba land, they brought, cultural walks from all over Nigeria. It was a whole week or 2 weeks of activities where our culture was in full glare. It was beautiful. And so we expect more of, such festivals in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right. I would like us to go into the language as a part of a culture of a people. You agree with me that I heard from the background you speaking Yoruba with your team over there, but in some part of Africa, we are gradually losing that hold over our children. Children of most tribes, most African tribes, cannot speak their dialects as it stands. All right, though, what have you done differently that have made the Yoruba tradition in terms of language speaking so different from every other tribe in Africa? And what would be your advice to other Africans to make sure that their children are brought up to know the language of their own area?
Thank you. I said it earlier that our languages are fast going into extinction. I did mention that. And again, I would tell you, you see, where does language start from? Language starts from the home. And so this message is for mothers because we are the homemakers. We are the ones that spend, more time with our kids than the men. So it is the responsibility of mothers to make sure that they speak their indigenous language to their children. When you teach a child when they're young, they would never forget. Language, when it sticks, it never goes away, never ever. So before a child even starts school, and the mother has between a year and 3 years to do this, before the child leaves home to go to a proper place of learning, you can teach your child to speak your language. And this is not saying don't speak English or don't speak French every country has its official language. But it will be best that our children speak our languages, our indigenous languages, or else it will go into extinction, like I said. So this responsibility lies most on the mothers, the home. Then in schools, I am very aware that languages are taught in schools in Nigeria. I don't know about other African countries. In Nigeria, you have an option of either studying Yoruba language or Igbo or
Hausa.
Or Hausa. Yes. So
Hausa, yeah.
yes. So the government is playing its part there, but again, the children spend more time in the home. So it is the responsibility of their families to impart the language on their wards. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. My last question before I hand over to Lola. What is your ministry doing to sustain African festivals, which used to be the pride of a nation?
Okay, thank you. I think it was before you joined us. I spoke about the Olokun Festival that I host yearly. It is a beautiful festival, if I am allowed to say, but judging from the reviews that we have gotten, we even have people that book their tickets in January, before the festival happens in August. It always happens sometime in August. It is a beautiful festival. It is a platform where people of diverse culture come together under one umbrella, under one roof to celebrate, to view, to see the beauty of our culture. It is a festival that even gives the platform for our monarchs. The monarchs come, they bring their people to experience, to enjoy the culture. Again, the monarchs are the greatest custodians of the culture and tradition. They're the closest to their people. So they come to experience, and we have people come from all over the world. People in the diaspora, people, Africans, ambassadors representing different countries. And however, I would like to state that we do this. We've been able, the local foundation, the Leo Local Foundation has been able to do this, sponsoring itself we have not had help, external help. But if the government, if private organizations, different bodies or agencies can also give us support, the festivals will become so big that it will become something that people of the outside world will be looking forward to.
Thank you so much. We're going to go on another quick break. When we come back,
Okay.
you're going to give us your final words and then tell us what the connection between the gods or the deities and our tradition is. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello there. Looking for an African movie? Search no further. Clevenard African Movies TV is here for you. We are dedicated to the acceleration of African films, TV series, documentaries, and lots more. Explore our movies at home or on the go. Clevenard Movies is free to watch on clevenard.com. Don't miss this opportunity. Hurry now. Sign up and subscribe today. Hello there. Looking for an African movie? Search no further. Clevenard African Movies TV is here for you.
Welcome back. This is still Clevenard TV in Diaspora. Please remember to sign up on www.clevenard.com. And we've been having such interesting conversations with Dr. Yeye, Lara, Fashola, and she's been telling us about all things African culture and tourism. One thing she said that I would always remember is that culture is tourism and tourism is culture. Yes. So before she gives us her final words, I would like to ask, are deities like Shango, Obatala, Ogun, Oya, and others are considered as heirs of Olodumare? Is that correct? Right? They are
Pardon
the
me, I
gods
didn't
that.
hear that. Can you please repeat that?
Okay, I was saying our deities like Shango, Obatala, Ogun, Oya are the heirs of Olodumare. They are the gods that had ruled the African territory some centuries ago. So what is the connection between these deities and the African tradition?
Okay, thank you. Like I said earlier, we have 401 deities in Yoruba land, and there's an hierarchy. So we have some deities that are more, not more important than the others. All the deities are important, but we have the deities that we actually get involved with every day of our lives. Now, I said that the deities are messengers of Olodumare. Basically, Olodumare put them in charge of different aspects of our lives. Like I said, Ogun is the deity of iron, and is the parts clearer. He clears the part because Ogun, when he was here, was the first person to invent the cutlass, guns, iron generally. And so that was what he did when he was here. And till this moment, we Yorubas consult him to clear our parts because machineries are what people use to clear. When a land is bushy, what you do is bring a machine to clear it. So spiritually, Ogun, that is his responsibility. And I said, Oshun is a deity of fertility. So women looking onto Olodumare for fruit of the womb goes to Oshun, and they pray to Olodumare through Oshun, and the prayers get answered. And people who are looking for economic growth, like I said, or wealth, or progress or success in their day-to-day work, or in the businesses, they also go to a local, or people who don't even have jobs, who are looking for breakthrough, who are looking to get employed, go to a local because she is in charge of anything that has to do with growth, economic growth, wealth, and progress. So, etc. We have so many of the orishas who do. And I said Obaluaye is the one in charge of pandemics and diseases, If I tell you, let me quickly put this in. Back in the days, Obaluaye devotees were the ones who actually cured people of illnesses. The first syringe, the first immunization method was invented by Obaluaye. If you look at it, back in the days, uh, um, a blade would be brought to make some incision on the skin, and the herbs and plants, will be applied to it. And this is done so that the plant or the herb can go through the bloodstream and the person gets healed. If you look at it, this is exactly what the orthodox medicine does. When you get inoculated, yes, the liquid in the syringe is passed into your bloodstream, and that gets you well. And we have been doing this thousands of years, before the orthodox medicine came. I mean, people were giving, our mothers were giving birth to children. We had midwives. We had so many things that was ongoing before, westernization came or took place. So again, the messengers of Olodumare for we Yorubas are the deities, and they carry out Olodumare's duties every day.
That's amazing. So is there a way people can connect with you if they want to?
Oh, yes. You can check me out on Instagram at Yeye Lara Fashola. And the name under that will be Ambassador Dr. Yeye Lara Fashola. There's so many fake accounts on Instagram, so you have to be careful the one that you add up so that you don't fall into the wrong hands. However, I have just one page, one account on Instagram, and it's at Yeye Lara Fashola. No underscore, no space in between. And on my profile, it is written that it is my only IG page. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So what are your final words tonight?
My final words will continue to be that we should not relent in promoting our culture. Let people know who you are everywhere you go to. Represent your tribe. Let people know that people of your tribe are good people, they're disciplined, they're nice, they're kind, by the words of your mouth, by the way that you comport yourself, by the way that you dress. We Yorubas, we have something that we say, Omoluabi. We are the Omoluabis of the world. If you see a Yoruba person, you can easily tell because they are, very subtle, they're kind, they're very respectful. If there's anything that the Yorubas have, it is respect. We're very respectful. And this is how you can tell. When you find somebody who's so respectful, so subtle and kind, you can ask, are you Yoruba? Let your way of life speak about you, about where you come from. This is my last message. Please continue to promote the culture. Do not let it go into extinction. Thank you.
Continue to promote the culture and be proud of who you
are. I'm proud of who you are.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Clevernet TV in Diaspora. This is such an insightful interview today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I am pleased to be here. It is a great honor to be here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our viewers for joining us tonight. This is all we have time for today. But remember that culture is tourism and tourism is culture. Be always proud of who you are. We'll see you again next time. Thank you.
Thank you.